Say it with me, Tiz. Sergei Pavlovich.
Pavlovich. There we go. We're
Pavlovich.
not. We're not. We're getting better at this. We're getting better at this name pronunciation stuff.
Yeah, well, debatable. I think this is a simple
Yeah.
one. To be fair, I didn't even
This.
know it was pronounced any other way than it was in Pavlovich until yesterday. But it is
I literally
Pavlovich.
just found out when you told me, like literally 15 minutes ago.
It's weird because some fighters I can get it in my head. Like this one, I think Pavlovich will eventually flow off the tongue. But then there's other ones like Israel Adesanya that I don't think I'll ever say like correctly like when I'm not thinking about it. Like I'm impressed that Ariel says it like that all the time. I'm like, dude, that's a lot for my brain. But it's the guy's last name, so we should probably try to be more considerate. But let's talk about Sergei Pavlovich and his big win over Curtis Blades. First round knockout, his sixth straight in the first round, which is nuts in itself. But you saw this fight, right? So what did you think about Sergey's big win? Do you think this, first of all, do you think this was enough to warrant him a title shot?
Oh, no.
That's the big question,
I
right?
as much I want to say I want to say yes so bad, but I'm gonna just think in the sense that what's actually gonna happen, and I'm like 95% sure it won't actually happen. His next fight being a title shot, so I think definitely at least one more win is in order for him to get there. And then obviously you let the dust settle between Stipe and John Jones, and then yeah, it's anyone's freaking title to go compete for after that, really. So but a freaking win like this, dude, like, man, it's got me like so enthused, and man, I don't even like use the word, just like,
I mean, any
yeah,
knockout like
like
that
I'm
could get
just
you enthused,
I
you
am,
know?
yeah, I'm ready to see him fight for the title. That's what, yeah, I like, just, don't get me wrong, but in the sense of what's actually gonna happen, I feel pretty confident saying he's gonna need at least one more fight.
Yeah.
Um,
See, he was
and
saying though that he might hold
man,
out, which I
like
don't like if he does that. Like I don't know if he was being serious when he said that, but if he
like
is,
I have a name too, and
help.
it
Hey,
just
dude,
it makes it makes sense, because you would think he was gonna fight the winner of this fight, whoever it was, but Tom Aspinall when he comes back.
that'd be fun.
So, um, yeah, that's where my head's at right now. I guess we're just gonna wait, but
You
like
know
you
who I
just
was
said,
thinking
that was
actually? A similar type of fight, another like guy on that same realm, probably a little bit above just in the sense of the guy's resume, but I was thinking maybe Pavlovich versus Gon because they had a fight scheduled like a couple years ago, I want to
yeah.
say, that got canceled. I forget why, but that
Yeah,
one
I
could
don't
be
know.
interesting. It's good that we have like an up and coming contender like this because he hasn't really fought any of the guys at the top now
That's what
besides
I'm
Curtis
saying,
Blades.
man. Yeah.
I think that there's a bunch of different matchups that could probably happen for him.
It really is just nice to see another, legitimate contender. Because when you have a champion like John Jones, obviously, like, man, like, anybody that can at least take him to the limit, give him a run for his money, is good for us. So, yeah, man,
Do you think Pavlovich can give him a run for his money? I mean, he's got that power.
damn, I'm just gonna revert back to, we need to see that one more fight. I think from I'll even say John Jones too. Like, let's see Jones versus Stipe first, and then another fight from Sergey Pavlovich, and then we'll see where we're at then. But this was yeah, and I mean, if you wanna, we can obviously touch on Curtis Blades real
Yeah,
fast too.
it
I
sucks
mean,
for Curtis because the fact that he's never had a UFC title shot is just so criminal.
yeah, man, it's
There's been
man.
times he's deserved it,
Just
including
goes to
this fight.
show, yeah, really, dude. It just goes to show, especially in freaking heavyweight, just how freaking, it's not for everybody. And it's not to say, obviously, oh, Curtis Blades, he's not capable of getting in the title picture or competing for the title, but
See, I think he
like
should have been
what
competing
I'm
for the title already. That's
yeah,
like my
exactly.
point.
It's
I
the
think he already earned
opposite,
it.
and it's just like, bro, how is somebody this good not even ever fought for the title?
It just makes me mad because he deserved to fight for the title at least two separate times, and then he gets like hit with the one time I thought that he deserved it before was when he fought Derek Lewis, and then he got knocked out in that fight too. Similar, like in this fight, it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
man.
I just hate it because I think it's because Blades has said before that I'm a wrestler, and like if I can win that way, I'm gonna win that way, and I don't care what the promotion thinks. And you know how they tend to think of people like that. If you start
Yeah.
saying things like that,
Yeah.
they give you Sergei Pavlovich, and they give you these tough fights. And to Curtis Blades' credit, he usually wins these fights, but Sergei Pavlovich is just a freight train coming in there, man. And I in terms of like his technical skill, I was really impressed by that because I don't know if you noticed this, but a lot of his combinations started off with the jab. Like the jab was in Curtis's face the whole fight. It's why he couldn't close the distance and change levels on Pavlovich. And I think that that was like the big game changer in this fight. And it was close at first, but then as it went on, it seemed like Pavlovich was obviously just pushing the pace and just putting it on him, backing him up against the cage. And Blaze just really didn't have anything for him on the feet. And yeah, man, I wish there was more to say, but there wasn't really much that happened in the fight. Just like I said, we've just seen like a top contender basically become like a top 5 guy at heavyweight. I mean, he's knocked out
Overnight, just
Tuivasa,
like
but
that.
still, this one I think was the biggest because Blades is like we just said, he's deserved to fight for the title on numerous occasions, and Pavlovich basically just robbed him of that now, at least for the time being. But yeah, man. I don't know. Heavyweight's in a good spot right now, but I'll tell you this, and I'm curious to see what you think of my little theory here. Not really a theory, but just like a thought. I don't think that Jones versus Pavlovich ever happens, to be honest. I think that Jones, even if he beats Stipe,
Yeah,
I think
that
that might
too.
be it.
It's like, what does John Jones even need that for? If he beats Stipe, like,
Yeah.
we're already saying he's the GOAT, like, especially after that. It's
Even
like,
if he were to lose, I'm still like
yeah,
I'm
man,
still there.
exactly.
You know what I
That's
mean? Like
fine,
he's
yeah.
beaten all the guys that he's beaten, and if he beats Stipe and then fights Pavlovich, what does he gain from that? Because it's not a huge
Who
name.
knows, man? Maybe he truly does want to create like a whole heavyweight legacy, and
Wouldn't that be awesome?
yeah,
That's like my dream as a John Jones fan. I mean, I think whatever of him personally, but as a fighter, dude, like he's the reason why I got into MMA, and it would suck to see him only have one last fight. I don't know if you saw the one thing too. He was like, "Man,
and
how
then,
good would it be to have my
yeah,
retirement fight with Stipe?"
and
And
again,
wait,
too.
he got one.
Oh,
This
go
is getting
ahead, go
serious.
ahead.
He says, this fan says back to him after he's like, how would you like me to have my retirement fight at MSG against Stipe? He's like, "Nah, man, I'm not ready for you to retire yet. Please don't retire." And he's like, "Okay, man, I won't." I was like, I hope he's not lying. Please, John, just give us like 3-4 more to just
Yeah, dude.
remember
he's
you.
So he's so conniving sometimes with
Yeah,
like
you really never know what he's thinking.
exactly.
I remember for a while after he fought Dom Reyes and like the big fight was going to be him versus Jan Blachowicz, and then that just never happened.
And another thing, it's not like this is really even John Jones' problem, but like you really don't want a vacant heavyweight title again. That would just honestly suck. But hey man, like if it's John Jones letting it out, then what are you gonna do? So
yeah, I don't know. It's weird because John signed that long-term deal, so it makes you think that he's thinking about being around for a while. But he's got some killers coming up at heavyweight, man. I mean, he just fought one in Cyril Gane, although he didn't make him look like a killer. But sorry, you mentioned Aspinall. You got Pavlovich. Tai Tuivasa's still around. I don't think he'd fare very well against John Jones, but those hands can knock out anybody. And just, there's no telling if John Jones is going to get through Stipe. Like, who knows what's going to happen in that? I mean, we saw John Jones fight for a round pretty much against Cyril Gane, so I'm curious to see how he carries it.
That would be freaking just, yeah, man, that would be, I would think, like, just by default, like, one of the biggest upsets like ever in history. So
I think anybody beating John at this point would be an upset of the century, especially now that we've seen him at heavyweight and we know how good he could look. Because, dude, it's crazy. Like when I was watching this fight with Pavlovich versus Blades, and they were talking about John Jones during the broadcast, like it's honestly still setting into me that he is like the heavyweight champ. Like they're like, yeah, we're gonna see how if he fights Jones, how he does. I'm like, damn, John Jones.
I feel the same way. It's I think it's more because of how long he was actually away, and now not only is he back, but he's the champion
And he did it in such like a
of
crazy fashion.
of a new division. So yeah, it definitely takes a while to like you really like set in. It's like every time you see it, it's like, oh yeah. So good luck with that, whoever's gonna be challenging him.
Do you think if they gave DC like $150 million and gave him like a year to prepare, do you think he'd come back at heavyweight to fight John?
Honestly, I think the second DC, not even like obviously DC probably was the freaking first one to like even be thought of for this panel, but the second he appeared on that panel with everybody that got beat by John Jones, I think is the second he officially bent the knee and he's like, all right, this guy's better. This guy's
He
better.
just gave up. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
Dude, I felt bad for him when John fought and ESPN made him read that like stupid tape piece about it. It was like talking about I'm Daniel Cormier and John Jones like beat me twice. And, like he's talking about how much he hates him but he admires him. I'm like, there's no way he wrote that. Not a chance. But DC's a good company guy and he's a great commentator. I love watching the fights when he's there. He always has like such a great energy. But man, we're steering away a little bit. But Sergei Pavlovich, man, I think I'll say this. I think he's earned a title shot, but I agree with you in the sense that I don't think it happens anytime soon. So I do hope that he doesn't just sit out and he takes another fight, whether it be against Aspinall or against Gane. I think anybody in that top 5 could be a fun fight for him. So we'll see if he gets there. Next week is Song Yadong versus Ricky Simone. Not really much of like a title picture type of fight, but I think more of the hardcore fans know that this one's going to be a really fun fight. So we'll be back to talk about that one next week.
Pavlovich,
don't you guys forget it. See y'all.